I am now ready.
All right.
Hi.
How's it going, John?
Hi, John.
All right. All right, we are ready.
So, do you want to show our cards first? Or
No.
Oh. You're going to do it? Oh, okay. So, we were off.
But then we cheated, and we got the same type. So we both got you as...
Well, we didn't cheat.
IP.
I mean, we were off, but
Yeah,
but we're agreeing with what Dave
Right.
got you, because
Right.
I was like 60-40, and I...
Easy on the
that's
microphone.
probably like right
Yeah.
in his ears. Yeah, I was 60-40, like 60-40, but I was like,
I know.
and
sleep consume sleep, really hard to prove,
it's
right?
so hard to prove, and I knew that when I was writing it down, I'm like,
I know, right? So yeah, we got you close, and then when we were done, we stopped.
We
and
agreed
we
with
talked
Dave's.
about so we had to like kind of talk about it for a while.
so we got you one type over. I got you one type over than what you were.
Yeah.
And I think, here's what I think. I think I got biased by talking with
Oh,
you in
here
the
we go.
emails.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's your fault.
No, it's not his fault. It's my fault. It's my fault because I'm like, yeah, that's a lot of consume.
Anyways, we usually will get them off. Usually
was wrong.
either the sexuals or the middle functions or middle animals are kind of hard to tell.
The two middle functions are very difficult to
Right.
see, and
So
with yours, as you can see from your parts, that your demon is masculine, and so it shows up even more. you
right.
know,
Anyways, so you saw yourself as INFP,
which you are.
which is pretty much what I got you as FINI.
Yeah.
You know, N, right?
I've never seen anybody as close as he is to typing their.
We've seen a couple.
all
We've
the
seen-
way.
Sure, we've seen a couple people, not very often, but it does seem to be that he's got a lot of self-awareness. You know, it seems to be like self-awareness, know enough about the personality code, and then not take it too seriously. Seems to be the other one. So you're not
Yeah.
all tied up on an outcome. Kind of
Right.
get those three variables in there.
Right.
So anyways, great job. Between the three of us, you're some kind of an IP, FI, NI, somewhere in that neighborhood.
You're
right?
a ISFP with N.
Yeah. So everything that you were describing too in your life is definitely what we see, not just with your specific type, but your kind of neighboring type. And
Yeah.
we put a bunch of people on your doc that are kind of shooting all around your type,
Right.
all having the exact same issues of self above tribe, lead FI. You know, so you're really driven by what you love. It's hard to
Yes.
just go do all this other stuff that you don't like and finding the motivation.
Just getting really drained very easily as well.
Yes.
Very life about how do I preserve my energy?
Right.
How do I manage energy? That's a
Right.
lot of stuff to deal with.
Right. And this-
Especially when tribe is a big deal and then you have your energy so low. So like having to manage, oh my God, how do I deal with the chaos from the tribe? And then also I gotta go take a nap.
It's a tricky thing too of like going, I know things that I love in the past, like the good old times when I was a kid or whatever.
Right.
And it's hard not to just want to go back to that or some abstract version of that because now you got video games or whatever your NI can escape to.
Yeah.
And
Right.
just the same kind of traps and stuff that you're talking about that you're struggling with trying to get out of. So that's why we're like very encouraged with like seeing other people of a similar type going, how did they overcome
Yeah.
these extremely challenging challenges that you're going through, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right.
that's basically it. We'll give you some, tips and tricks.
And
later,
actually,
but it's
if
more.
if you're FI, you're this. I'm NIFI, and so I
We're
also have the
very
same.
similar.
Right, the same. I've
He
got the-
doesn't. You don't have the consume
right.
struggle when you have sleep and consume. Like you just
You get that super introverted.
super
Yeah.
introvert, wanting control in your life, but then you keep causing chaos in your
Right.
life because of the gathering.
Right.
And it's just a very conflicting.
Right.
Whenever you're on the poles, whenever you're playing and blasting, or you're consuming and sleeping, you've got an extreme.
The point is, I can
situation.
relate to a lot of the demons that you have of like
Yes.
of dealing with this dumb tribe, having low energy to do stuff you hate.
Yeah.
As well as feeling like bounded by you got to only do stuff that you love, and just not being able to put up with stuff that you don't like. And then where do you find something in reality where you can make money, you can make a living, and you like it? On today, that's always changing. That's kind of what I'd like to kind of
I did
share with you.
I did see though that at least he has a job that he is able to manage and do okay.
What does he do again?
You're asking me a sensory question. Like, I think it was something having to do with...
Why don't I remember? I just watched this video.
I know. Nurse... not nursing, right?
Oh, right. Yeah. No, yeah. Two
Technician?
guys in a row that were working in the hospital field.
Hospital field of some
Yeah,
sort.
right.
Well, anyways, the point is that he is having some success and, pleasing the tribe. So that's always good.
Yeah.
So he is doing some good, but like we can talk about all the extracurricular like desires, wants, needs to sort of build some of your, confidence,
Right.
stuff like that.
All right. So going through the checklist right away from the beginning, and then I continued to watch throughout the rest of the video.
The first thing I saw
was that
was IP.
was
Yeah.
the cider. It was the issues in life that seemed to be rather overwhelming was dealing with self and tribe. And then as you
Yeah.
describe your workplace, yes, in the hospital, of course,
Yeah.
describing, and then there's certain doctors that'll be on me and they give me anxiety, and then the
Yeah.
nurses, and then the people. And
It's
like,
very people oriented. You'll have anxiety and it's because of the people. And it's exactly like you explained, where you were saying that because of you are unsure about your bisexuality, it's difficult to then relate to other people. So like the worst thing in the world for an IP who, is dealing with, tribe issues or whatever, the worst thing in the world is for you to be unsure of your identity, because then how can you come out to the tribe and then communicate with the tribe if you are unsure of you?
that's one hell of a challenge, because we're
It's
always
very
talking
hard.
about like these demon functions aren't real, but then if you're like an identity person and you have a legitimate identity issue like sexuality,
right.
like, oh, now you really got something to be afraid of,
Right.
right?
Right.
So that's a tough one, but seeing how other people have gone through that and overcome that,
Yes.
as well as at least in our research, seeing how much the sexuality and stuff is something that we're absolutely tracking.
Yes.
In your case as well.
Yeah, you
It
have
helps make it a little bit more normal. You
you
know.
have two feminine savior functions, which are the most feminine functions. The F and the N are the feminine letters. So we've definitely seen that quite a bit.
Yeah.
Just an interesting.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
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 So organized, even though it's kind of a soft organized, you're not like an
You're like-
IJ.
Yeah, this is where I messed up, because I was just like, I don't know, I'm seeing both, but when Dave and I talked about it afterwards, I was like, okay, you are absolutely right. He is obligated to the planning, and this is like secondary to the planning, desiring the plan, wanting the plan, not able to get the plan because causing chaos to the plan. But this was where the savior energy was. And that's what I got off.
Yeah, when you got consumed sleep, this is like a pretty 60-40, especially with
right.
it being your observer, which is, in your middle functions.
Right, that's another thing. If you have them in the middle. So like this is why I messed up. I mean,
The consumed sleep consumes are always a little tricky because they're both, even when you get them in the IJs, you'll get an IJ that's sleep consumed.
it's
and so
still even hard to tell.
they're activating the SE, and you're like, oh my God, what the hell am I looking at here?
Right.
An IJ that's gathering? It's like,
Right.
yeah. It's like this
That's a tough one.
bell curve of genetics there.
Yeah. But it's like definitely was IP, definitely was ISFP. You have NI. When you talk about planning, it's a future based.
Yeah.
It's not like control based.
So it's IP with
Or-
a side order of IJ.
Yeah.
So you're getting a lot of this introverted energy, introvert on top of introvert.
Right. Very, very aware of your energy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's the expending and preserving energy game.
So yeah, if Savior 1, Savior 2, and then did you get this one as well? I
Yeah.
got this is the activated.
I
So
went
it's hard
back
to
and
tell.
forth between those two. I had a hard time figuring out, and I sort of guessed. I
me
felt
too.
like I could have made a case for both. I could have TE made a case for both. Of like, it seems like he might be blasting and having a difficulty expending the energy to get something done. Like I kept feeling like he didn't have a hard time getting anything started. But then when he would talk about like hobby oriented things, it was like, and then bike riding with my friends and then working out. And I'm like, okay.
Because if he was sleep consumed play, he would be more of an energy dominant person.
And that's
not-
definitely what he talks about.
Right.
He definitely,
Either way, you got blast and play.
as a struggle.
Yeah, I got it. You got blast and play as demons, so it's like you're fighting for which one is in last place.
That's what I was dealing with. I was like,
they're both going to be hard, right?
I tossed a coin in a hat, and I was like, this is super anecdotal, but I did see him talking about the idea of hanging out with friends and bike riding and doing stuff like
The
that.
big thing
as
I saw
a
is I
hobby.
did not see teaching and bragging in his communication.
That was missing. There's not a boastiness there.
No, it's,
And that's the only, like, not a boastiness, and then also he was more energy concerned.
right.
And then, you know, anecdotal. He's playing with friends. It's like, okay, but that technically is.
Yeah. So
So,
either
yeah.
way, these two are the saviors and these two are the demons.
Right.
Both are going to be challenging. Especially, in my opinion, the blast is going to be challenging. It's going to be hard on top of hard to kind of get started, jump in, try and do new stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could talk about that. I definitely have some, you know, tips or whatever on that because I have Blast last as well. So
It seems to be like with this genetic code, you get these setups to where people that are very balanced, that's great because they're not really doubling down on any one problem,
Right.
but then they're not doubling down on any one strength.
that's true.
Somebody like yourself, you're just all
going all
in.
in.
Yeah, you're like really, really all in on
All in on IP.
Yeah, on your world
Yeah.
and your values and what you love and being able to then consume and research whatever it is that you lock onto, which is what
Right.
you're kind of searching for in life. When you get that, that then just becomes this super strength we're seeing in people that are very similar to your type or your same type, where they just become dominant because nobody can love and obsess over this thing or whatever their life calling is
Right.
more than them. They can't love it any more than how much you can love something. The downside is that weak extroverted world. It's just hard to throw shit at the wall.
Right.
It's hard to try random stuff. It's hard to just get out there
Yeah.
and take shots, you know.
Right.
So that's the trade-off.
Right. Totally. And then this was also where I got caught because I thought maybe he was talking about popularity type
Oh,
stuff.
that's true. He's definitely not.
And then, you know, because he was like, ratings good with my, I'm best
Yeah,
in the
not-
area of this. Like, I thought he was popularity communicating, but
Those values
it
of
was
his world.
his world.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think his too, like what he was trying to communicate is he was trying to really communicate and helping us try to understand what he's going through.
Right. Instead of just giving us as many facts as possible. That's right.
Yeah.
I messed up.
Great.
Definitely. Oop.
Freaking.
It's okay. I'll get it. FINI, man.
Yeah.
Like, literally, you're like one click off from the most introverted type.
Yeah. Does that feel about right? And then
He's like, yep.
yeah.
He's like, what did he say? Welcome to my messed up life.
Yeah.
Or, you know, hopefully you can.
Welcome to my messed up shirt. And then it's hard to prove the sexual energy. Now, the kinesthetic walking around the gym.
That's super anecdotal, but I saw that as well. I was like, oh, you have to talk and walk.
Talk
huh?
and walk. Kinesthetic audio.
I have to move and then I can talk.
Mhm.
It's anecdotal, but it's still a pattern that we keep seeing over and over and over and over and over
Yeah.
again.
Now, I couldn't prove that he had masculine extroverted decider,
I couldn't either.
but when I said, is this feminine FI? I
Me
went,
too.
yeah, this is feminine FI.
Which is, again, where the difficulty in you'll make a decision and then change and make a decision and then change. And you're like, your
Yeah.
identity is literally movable. I know
Right.
what that's like.
Right.
That's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump down here. So let's see. He'd be way over here.
See? Now,
Right.
the only thing making you not the most introverted type ever is that you play above blast and you're not double feminine. The
Yeah,
double
you know how you're doing
feminines
the
are even more-
workouts. Yeah, you're doing the workouts and exercising and stuff like that. Like people that have play last,
They can't move.
they can't even do that. Generally speaking, you know, anecdotally speaking, at scale, they just have a harder time expending energy in the physical world like that.
Right, which again, I felt like I could have made a case for both. Yeah.
Right.
It's like you either have a harder time getting started and then communicating, or you have a harder time just doing,
Right.
you know?
So let's look at the sexual energies here. So
Yeah. Oh,
double
this
masculine
is off.
on the what's out
Somebody just went down the line and put a bunch of E's there.
there? Double masculine on the demons. So this is going to be Savior 1,
which is even harder.
Savior 2. So these got these masculine.
It's actually good. It's good that you have a solid in your demons. But
Yeah.
those are, yeah.
Yeah, you get the double masculine TESE, and those are demons, and then the feminine NIFI. So you got the introverted world, the movable world. You know, because like N and F are very.
They're just.
You know. Right. Cloudy. S and T is very hard, strong.
Blockhead, we call it, literally. So, like, if you're like, you would swing from being a blockhead to being just, like, a hippie fairy.
Right. So, like, when you when you would swing over to your demons, whether it's in sports or when you're mad or whatever.
Right.
Like, you probably got one hell of a, like, Hulk comes out.
I bet.
Like, smashing
I bet
things,
you are
Hulk.
a smashing dashboard kind of guy.
Yeah.
Punch a hole in something kind of guy.
Oh, God,
that would be my guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know one of those.
You do?
Well.
Yeah, you get the masculine SET. And then the feminine, we're seeing, like, with the LGBT and all that, like, we are seeing that with the feminine identity or feminine FI, and especially the F and the N. And it seems to be clustering around, so say for males, it seems to be clustering around the double feminine males, but then it'll pick up again towards
on the double masculine.
On the other fringe, like it's trying to go back around.
Isn't that fascinating?
Because you get these double masculines that are masculine on top of masculine, but then they have the feminine identity, and then so you will get the gay and bisexual on the poles, mostly on the double feminines.
Right.
So what we're saying is, like, it's not out of the ordinary
for your type to.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
That's exactly it.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah. Let's fill in the rest of his sensory. So you have these two here, which gives you the lead sleep. That's why you're just very energy dominant there. And then the opposite of sleep is play. That's the extroverted part. And then it'll be blast and then consume, just because in the lineup it's going to go introvert, extrovert, introvert, extrovert. So you have this as Savior 1. And then you jump, Savior 2. And then you jump again, and then you activate play. So let's just go, oh my God, that one's a tough one. By activating, by the second animal here, it's going to jump over to the functions and activate one of these functions. It's going to activate SE. So the struggle there is going to be like, oh my God, talking to the tribe.
Yeah. Talking to the tribe on top of talking to the tribe.
Yeah,
getting
that's a
started.
tough one.
Yeah.
That's a really tough one.
Yeah. So what we've seen with people that overcome that is, like, just filling up on this. Like, this is like the worst advice to give most people, but, like,
I know,
filling up on the saviors, really finding something that you really can love and passionately,
so that you can then give. Because otherwise, it's going to be like, I can't move for the tribe. I'm terrified of the tribe.
So if you're doing something you hate, it's going to be on your free time, you're going to want to just escape, right?
Right.
If you're doing something you love, you're going to just keep feeding more and more until you're so full, you have to now give out. It'll become natural. We call it kind of the alpha state, where, like, all the other functions and animals start to get full. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a cup flowing over, literally. Like, you get so full on your identity and where you're going, and then it spills into the next, and now you can give. Let's go through his little wiring here. This is, you'll see again, because it's going to double up right here. So sleep, FI 1 and NI the other. You're in the class, so you know a lot of this already. Consume, you're going to get 1 for this and then 1 for this. And then also play energy, 1 again there and 1 there. So this, again, you're doubling up a lot here on the top.
Yeah, it's hard to see, huh?
Yeah. Plus, this is masculine. So
right.
Shows up a lot. This is going to be a heavier function. You'll understand that, kinesthetic. Heavier function than this one here.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is still savior.
I'm surprised that we, like, get any of these sometimes.
I know. That's, like, where I'm like, well, I can see why I got it off, but yeah.
Like, honestly, like, whenever we get ones right, you know, which is a lot of the times, it's still like, it's
still like, how the hell out of 520?
I know. And when we get them wrong, we're like, oh, that makes sense.
That makes sense. You're double activated on masculine SE, and it's near the top. What did you expect? Yeah, but so, like, how are you going to manage this, right? I want to kind of get into this, and then we can get to the other tribe members. First of all, you have a IP, me against the tribe problem. So that's one. That's like one bucket of, oh my God. And then the second bucket is like, oh my God, blast last.
Yeah, that
okay.
one.
So there's going to be two major struggles there. Let's first talk about the first one. The first one, the thing that Dave and I have done that has really helped us is to talk out loud and sort of put a little category around the lies that the brain tells us. So for me, it's tribe hate or self-hate. And then for Dave, it's the chaos, the, Illuminati fears aren't real. So one thing that I would say that you can start right now, today, doing is being like, all of these weird ass fears that you have about the tribe not getting you, not accepting you, not believing in what you care about, all of those fears of like, I can't talk to the tribe. I'm scared to manage the tribe because they're going to cause me all kinds of chaos. It's going to blow up in my face. They're going to hate me. They're going to judge me. Those are all real. And yet the importance and the priority that you're placing on them is not real. That's
basically, if you were to dial all your worst fears down by 90%,
Yep.
that would be more realistic.
Yes.
And you
exactly.
can see that when you look at others in contrast.
There you go.
So like you're a double observer, so you're going to be relatively balanced with control and chaos. Like you'll notice that at work, like you'll want to stick to a routine and a plan and know it's coming.
Mm-hmm.
But then when SE chaos hits you in the face, you're like, fine, whatever, I'll deal with it, and you don't freak out. Then you'll probably see other people at work, probably closer to me, where they're relatively balanced with the self and tribe, but they just lose it over the control chaos
Yeah.
issue, and you're like, what the hell's wrong with you? You're like,
Like,
yeah,
I realize it's a big deal.
but dial down by 90%, homie. And like, that's how we really learned to do this. Is like, I couldn't see myself because all of my fears, still my body feels like it's real.
Yes.
But I can look
Your
at
chemicals
right.
will react.
I can look at her, I can look at you, and I
Right.
can look at other people and
Right.
kind of triangulate going, all right, the math tells me that I should calm down by 90%.
Right.
Therefore, I can get the growth mindset in on the problem.
Right.
And so it's like, for people like myself, right? Like I don't fear the tribe and identity
Yeah.
naturally
Right.
as much as you two guys do.
Right.
And so you would be like looking at either people of your same type that have conquered it or other people. I like to just
I honestly
pick
learn
random
a lot.
heroes.
I learn a lot watching Dave. So it'd be like finding a double observer or a double decider in your life where you're like, okay, why when the tribe literally bashed the thing that you cared about, did you not react that much? And they're like, yeah, the tribe's movable. They're fine. It's like, they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
That helps me know that it is just me, because your chemicals are going to flare up in your body and they're going to tell you this is a big deal. This is a fight or flight situation. This is a survival situation. I mean, that's what you spent your high school doing, hiding in the bathroom. That's because of those fears. And then especially if you don't know what your identity is, And a lot of it, so there's like two sides. There's like a manage your mental wiring side, and that takes time, and then kind of sort of staring at another type and believing that it's possible and sort of getting your wiring on board with this isn't real, it's tribe hate's not real. And then there's like a practical side of like, what is your worst fear? That they'll find out that you're gay, or they'll find out that that you're bisexual, and that you will legitimately get beat up. Because there are parts of those fears where you're like, but they'll hurt me, or whatever it is that you are scared of in that situation. And it would be planning for that.
Yeah.
It would be legitimately being like, okay, I am bisexual and I need to plan for that, and I need to manage that, and I need to actually work out more, or I need to bring pepper spray with me, or whatever it is that's going to get that fear, and you can like own it and stand on top of it and be like, okay, I got this. The worst thing that could happen is I get beat up, and now I'm going to jujitsu classes so I can manage that.
Yeah, sure.
Practically managing the fears.
That's everything that we've been learning. Like, just even yesterday, I was just getting very overwhelmed with like a bunch of work projects all coming in at once, just
Right.
one after another.
Right.
And usually I'm pretty good at staying on top of things, but like it's just been a long month trying to get a whole bunch of things done. And finally, I just felt like this shutting down of like, I'm just getting exhausted because
Yeah.
I can't manage them all.
Yeah.
And being able to just lay down, take a nap, and then get up with kind of a fresher mind. I'm like, all right, which one of these can I grab and
Totally.
start to solve, and then
Totally.
get this like, I need to get it out of like unconscious anxiety land onto the whiteboard with my teammate and try and get it
Right.
practical. I don't have to solve it, but I can get it into a little
Yes.
Google Doc or box of like,
Yeah.
okay, I can now beat this thing because it looks more like a practical job that I can work away
Right,
at
because
and out
the
of
only
the
reason
abstract.
the fear and the anxiety is there is because there isn't actual work being put into how to solve it. Like
Right.
if you were working on it every day like you do your saviors, the fear is gone.
Right.
You know? So legit, like here I'm gonna move on to the like last problem. Like the fear is starting something with having to literally play energy with the tribe. I would say, in fact, I gave this advice to somebody else earlier who has blast last and also is trying to struggle with bisexuality and understanding that. Here's my advice. Literally, you're going to have to get some sensory on it. And it's going to be scary, but like, what are some small ways you can start helping yourself move and put some work into playing the rejection game? Or, you know, going online and maybe just, you know, swiping left or whatever they call it. Like putting in some non-threatening trials so you can figure that out. Because the fear is because you don't know, but you haven't put any physical work into it. And so you will always have this abstract fear because there is no way to know in abstract fear and emotion land. You have to bring it to practicing, and it's not going to be perfect. There's going to be all kinds of embarrassing, non-ideal, and go into that knowing that that's going to happen. And the best way to deal with Blast last wants everything to be perfect before it ever gets started. And
Yeah.
you just have to kind of tell your mind that isn't possible. In fact, there's so much more learning and understanding that can happen by starting before you're ready. And it's being willing to go through the failures. It's very growth mindset, being willing to go through the failures, knowing that, you know what, I'll get it on the next one. I'll get it on the next one. I'll get it on the next one. It's okay. I've got more things that I can go through. I'm exhausted. So let me go sleep energy on that. Let me go process that. But then the next time I go out, be okay that you're going to go through some trials and tribulations to figure out, okay, I think I like this type. I like this type of guy. I like this type of female. And now you're starting to get some sensory to back up what you feel so you can start building the confidence in reality. But take some little small steps. That's what the blast last, it really helps with that, because then you're just kind of putting some things in the crack of time. Like, okay, so if I were going to do this, maybe I could just get a profile set up on my online
I like
site.
to make things, to help me get moving, I like to make things like fake. So I like to just do
Right.
pretend, like I'll tell myself, I don't really care about this. I'm just doing it for practice. Therefore, it allows me, it sets myself up to where I can fail 100 times and I'm not
Right.
emotionally tied to the outcome. Because I don't like taking on something I'm going to lose.
Right.
So I either don't take it on, or I take on all these practice versions because I know I need to fail 1,000 times.
Right.
But that's emotionally hard to go through. So I go, this is just a practice draft or a practice relationship or a practice business thing or a practice page, or like
Totally.
as much practice as I can get to keep myself emotionally distant so I can deal with the failure as
Right.
well as deal with how many steps it's going to take to conquer whatever the thing is.
Yeah.
And how much time it'll take. Because I'm like, I don't care. I'll just work on it when I'm taking a shit. I got 15 minutes. I don't care. and then over 6 months, like, oh my God, I've actually gotten somewhere with it. Because I'm not freaking out about it.
Because the more, like, think of it like a investment. Like, if you're just putting pennies away in a jar, you're like surprised that eventually the jar is full, and
Yeah.
you're like, I wasn't even trying.
Right.
But you could either sit there and do nothing, or be putting pennies away, and
little-
eventually you have that investment when you're done.
Yeah. All right. So when you get life all kind of figured out, which you're on your journey, man, you're doing good.
Right.
You're hella doing good.
Right.
Like, we are seeing that people of your same type and similar type, they either like figure out what they love young, or
Right.
it takes them a while to figure it out. Like, their
Right.
game is they figure out what they love, and then here's the fun part. It's got to be a cross-reference with what is an actual demand in society. For example,
Yeah.
you have Sylvester Stallone, who loves being an actor. Now, that worked out in the 1970s and 80s when
Right.
acting was a very different industry as it is now. So,
Right.
like, what he loves and what was in demand happen to cross, and you get a success.
Yeah.
You get Alistair Overeem, same idea, where he got into Ultimate
UFC,
Fighting.
yeah.
UFC martial
Yeah.
arts stuff. Young, he got into it before it was extremely popular. And so it was a lot easier for him to take what he loves, and then here comes the opportunity, and it crosses. Same with
Right.
this guy. He's kind of a motivational speaker, which and works well on the internet. Same with this guy, motivational and works well on the internet.
Right.
So they're getting this cross-reference of what they love, and the external environment is also having that demand.
Right.
So you can't necessarily, or you'll have a lot of challenges, I should say, if you're like, well, I want to get into X, acting or musicians or whatever, without checking the extroverted world
Right.
of the trends and stuff. And this
Right.
is something that I've had to learn as I've gotten older, because I'm also NIFI. So I'm like, well, I love this. This is what I want to do. When I was starting off in the RC world, like, the first thing I want to do is build a vertical takeoff airplane because I thought it was cool. I
Right.
love doing it,
Right.
but didn't check the TESC of like, was this in demand? Does anybody want to buy this? It is like, how much would it cost? Like
Right.
all of the questions, like when you go on the guys go on the Shark Tank or Marcus Lemonis, and like they just ask all these brutal TESC business questions, and
Yeah.
they're standing there going,
I don't know, but I like it.
but I like it. They're like, fuck you, get out of here. So I'm like, all right, I need to be the Shark Tank guys for myself before I dive into something I really like or don't like or whatever, or passion or job. I got to do the extroverted homework first to see, is there a demand? What would the plan be? What's the strategy? And so for me, it was really learning to fill that role of same demons as you as the TESC, because it's like, man, I could jump all in on something I really love and then find that there's just no damn market for it. Or
Right.
the market is going down, it's getting harder, and it's like, I don't want to keep setting myself up to lose. I would rather compromise and take something I kind of like,
Right.
where the market is going up. Like, when I got into YouTube, you think I liked YouTube? I didn't like YouTube. I still don't like YouTube, like,
That's awful.
but I see that, like, I can like that enough, and I see
It's a valuable tool.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where you're like, I need to get good at this because
co-
this gets me to where I'm going.
Right. It was a compromise that I could get away with doing, of going,
Yeah.
I can learn to like it enough, plus it's going up. I can ride that for however many years I need to take me to, I can trade that up as
Right.
I go up.
Right.
And so that has helped me out a lot to kind of do that extroverted, this back and forth. So practicality, what would that look like? It would really be kind of looking around the internet, looking around the world, looking around at different people, jobs, environments, trends,
Right.
and just seeing what is out there and seeing and understanding where the world is going,
Right.
taking the facts of the SC, because you'll figure out the patterns just fine. And then kind of really looking at, I don't really love any one of these. Like, yeah. But which ones could you kind of love?
Yeah.
To kind of do a little bit of a compromise and then do that for
Build
some
on
time
it.
and then build on that,
Right.
And then always be looking to level up and don't ever feel like you're ever stuck in something.
Yeah, if you feel like you can't do something because you need the tribe and you can't work with the tribe, I would dissect that a little bit more. Like, what is it about the fear of working with the tribe? And then figure out, do I actually need the tribe in this specific situation, or can I get around it? Or, okay, that is a non-movable. That's kind of how we talk about things of like, all right, there's 10 things that all need to get owned, and they all feel non-movable. But which one out of these is like slightly shaky that I could actually go there? And if it legitimately is, figure out how to work with people. Then you can now go, okay, I know that because I've looked at everything else, and everything else is non-movable. I have to go into this industry. I have to go this direction. And then it would be like, okay, now I can put in my practice time, my workout time, and build the muscles there, and give yourself time, because you do that with many other things in your life. You've built your muscles on even video games, like being good at this certain level or whatever. You're like, I accept putting in that much time over there. I need to now kind of transfer that same understanding and accept that I can put my work in here, knowing that that's the only movable area. Is I've got to be able to work with a tribe if I want to do a band or whatever it ends up being that you find that coincidentally works with what works in the outside world and what you care about at the same time.
Yeah. You're probably noticing too, like, we're seeing this cool, like, deep set eyes.
Looks like.
Yeah, in the ISFP's FISE. And then Will Ferrell, who is an INFP.
Right.
Also that same kind of cool look.
Right.
But it'll jump around. So it's
Right.
not.
Let's remove this link.
It's
here.
why it goes to his. Where's it go? It goes to his.
His blog.
Leave it on there.
No, because if he shares it to the class, I don't want people going to him and bothering
Okay,
him.
go ahead.
It's my ex-husband. like I could just picture him sitting there being like, 30 people messaged me and was like, I saw you on Shannon's thing. I'm like, fuck,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So don't tell him we showed you that.
Yeah. Fucking A.
Yeah.
I think you got Billy wrong here too, you piece of shit with your sensory.
Yeah.
Thomas.
Yeah, I wrote those in by hand.
Sensory.
Yeah.
Mm. Anyways, yeah, the looks like game. There's always some weird thing. Well, I actually thought he looked a lot like
Yeah.
Liev
Yeah.
or Liev.
He's
or
got
Liev.
a little bit of that cool
Yeah.
kind of,
This is
it's
your
almost like a wolf look.
Wolf. This is your exact type, but then he's audio.
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
both Dave and I got that you had the feminine FI, masculine TE, which is way harder to see because it's just so far down there, you know?
Then there's this type. We have quite a few of these guys, these larger bearded guys. We'll have
Yeah.
a whole row that look just like this.
Yeah.
That are like the same or similar type.
Consume, sleep, play, but still like,
This guy's FINI.
yeah.
Anyways, and then, you know, then the looks will jump around.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the hell's going on there.
Right.
The overall point, though, is that the really finding something that they love and then just being able to work the hell out of it.
Yeah, they went all in on what they...
Because these guys don't have a lot of extroverted energy, so how the hell are they doing what they're
Right.
doing
Right.
when they're so consumed sleep? You know, I mean, these are FINEs, consumed sleep. You know, you get the idea. They're just still immersing themselves in what they love and then finding a place in reality that has that demand.
Yeah.
They're getting that cross of, I love this, and there's a demand. Like that right there, supply and demand. I love this, and there's a demand for it.
Right.
Finding those two.
And that's where the difficulty is in all deciders is, yeah, but I really care about this. Yeah, neat. Does the whole tribe like it? And
Right.
that's where it's like, ugh, I don't, you know.
A couple of females we had, these double feminines. This one was a transgender. So this was born female, transition to male.
Right.
And so what?
And that's masculine FI and masculine
Right,
NI. So it's
right.
interesting that it's all the way over there, masculine, and then wanting to transition to male.
Right.
It's fascinating.
Do you get that?
So like
Say that
you
again?
have feminine FI and feminine NI.
And so what's
So
their
the
name?
double feminine.
Isaac here.
Right.
Isaac
Is
here.
opposite sexuals, right? Fascinating.
Yeah. The F and the N seems to be,
It does seem to be a trigger,
yeah. And then with the girls, we'll see the S and the T.
right?
Interesting. As we get more data, we'll be able to kind of track that out more and more.
Yeah, and it definitely seems to be clustering because obviously not everybody I mean, this girl is a super feminine girl, you know, Danielle there. So it's not like across the board. It's just it clusters is what we're seeing.
Right.
It's not like you're in the stock, you're this type, your number, you automatically get the deep set eyes, you know? It's like
But your chances
chances are higher.
of
is kinda what
higher,
it seems
yes,
like.
of these different features.
Right.
Yeah, fascinating stuff.
Yeah.
So a lot of, kind of wrapping up here, a lot of the things that really helped me kind of struggling with the same general issues of SE and TE.
Chaos from the tribe.
Yeah, was literally the Shark Tank kind of shows. And because I'm the same as you, John, of like, all I want to do and all I did for the first 30 years of my life is just dive into my own dreamland
Yeah.
and my own inner world. And
Fantasyland.
right, and then
Right.
and then if I couldn't have it my way, then I didn't want to do it. It was learning to start to play the SETE game, and so what I did is I kind of took my savers and, you know, fucked them back over on themselves. Of like, I started to fall in love with SC and TE. I started to fall in love with market research. I started to fall in
Right.
love with how are other tribe members doing this. I started to fall in love with teamwork. Like, but
Right.
I had to do that, and that took a couple of years to
It's
really.
using the pain and directing the NI to the right thing that's causing the pain.
Right.
I love how you do that. I mean, I definitely envy that ability. It's an amazing ability because if you're like preserving of sleep energy, you don't want to go through the same problem again and again and again. Like use that for the benefit and be like, here's where the problem's coming from. It's
Right.
coming from right here.
Yeah, so just like for an example, like what we see a lot of alphas doing is like they do start falling in love with their demons. Like for example, Gary Vaynerchuk is FESE and he can do NITI
Better than
anybody,
Yeah.
right? So it's like, The same with Tony Robbins, who speaks a lot about FI. It's his demon.
He's
like
so good with FI and NI.
So like the last place you'd fucking look would be kind of falling in love with your demons, which would bring in that balance, and therefore what I have found then kind of earns you the right to use your saviors.
Right.
Like right now I'm able to do what I love, but god damn if I didn't have to pay the SET
Totally.
hell to support it. And so that might be something to consider and to look at is really going a direction that you would never have thought of, and really start researching. I don't know, do the same thing I did, Self Above Tribe, hey, do what I did. Follow me to be inspired. Where is it right here? I really started to fall in love with business and Shark Tank and the Objective Tribe guys like that, getting into things that were very S&T, very nuts and bolts, very factual, and business had that objectivity. And then from there, in that framework, I can then find something I love inside that little deck of cards.
Right, totally.
So,
really great, man. Really encouraging just that it can be done. All of these problems are absolutely solvable. Just 1,000%.
hey, you're not alone. You're struggling with the same things.
You should be struggling with what you're struggling with. So it's totally normal.
And you're kind of ahead, kind of already knowing who you are and knowing what you're struggling with and knowing what you're good at.
That's pretty good. You're not in a delusional world. You
Yeah.
know what you're dealing with, which is great. That's going to start you off.
How old is he again? Do you remember?
I don't know. You always ask that. You always watch that, and I'm always like,
I don't know. How the hell would you know?
I know.
If I don't know, why would you?
Feminine censor. You think I'm listening for?
I know. Well, the point is,
Concrete
he seems like a young guy. Like
He does.
just last point, John. Like, so I'm 40, she's 37, and like one thing that people always told me, or people things I've always heard, is like as you get older, like you start to figure it out, it starts to come together. You're like, I don't have time to wait for that, and what if it doesn't? And like what we're seeing is like when you really start to think about something, or desire something, or address something.
Yep.
It's almost like you're planting these seeds that get set in motion, that once that's started, it doesn't go back. You can't undo it.
It's
so
the
like
piggy bank thing,
Yeah,
You're putting
like,
in your little
if
seeds to the future.
if you start thinking about self-growth at 20, you're going to start to reap rewards at 30. Like we started reaping the rewards like mid-30s. We didn't start planting the seeds until our mid-20s.
Yeah.
So it took a while, and we're seeing people now that are getting into self-growth and thinking about the things you're thinking about at a younger age.
Right.
10 years later, they're starting to get the fruits of that. Just last example, I've met up with quite a few, or a couple of my friends, that we would sit around and talk business in our early 20s. And oh my God, the fruits that these guys are now bringing. I'm like, wow, just a bunch of jackasses sitting around at these fake business
They're like
meetings.
now millionaires. All those guys.
Yeah.
Are millionaires.
Yeah, and like just how it starts to play
We
out
care
over
about business 10 years later. We did it.
So I'm just saying that to say what I'm seeing in the outside world, some SETE facts for you that I'm picking up on, is that as you're thinking about this and working with this, as much as it's going to feel super slow for a lot of years,
It will.
which is normal, like you're setting in motion a lot of things that'll start to play out over time.
And it's like we kind of emphasize big time the 1%. Like if you could put a penny away in the bank, it's more than there was yesterday.
Yeah,
It's just
it starts to compound.
little tiny movements towards your goal. So it's possible.
All right, man. Let us know how you're doing.
All right, John. It's
do
been
some-
great getting to know you.
Do some sleep consume, and give us some blast back. Let you know how you process it all.
Yeah, that's so great. All right, talk to you soon, John.
All right, man.
Bye.
Bye.